Okay, I'm here from University Arts London, which is made up of 6 art and design colleges. Although we've been engaged in digital preservation activities since 2018, we are newer to web archiving. And the focus of our digital preservation programme to date has been on our existing collections, including our born digital artworks. Although initially out of scope, as a collection institution, we had a growing awareness of potential need. And in 2020, we made some initial progress, including the capture of the Chelsea Space Gallery website, charting 20 years of exhibition history. However, a new donation to our London College of Fashion in 2021 presented a more demanding use case with a much higher profile. When the university agreed to collect the Helen Story Foundation archive, this is a creative archive spanning 30 years, which charts the development of the foundation, which was founded by the fashion designer Helen Story. And the archive highlights a series of pioneering projects that merge the arts and science, always using fashion as a lens to explore global issues. The physical archive, which I've managed, has its own preservation challenges, including surviving examples of dissolving dresses, part of a touring installation where their deterioration was showcased in real time. Importantly, though, the collection also includes project websites created by the foundation and their project partners, which act as an important and very visual record of their activities. And these were all at risk following the closure of the foundation in 2019. However, the agreement made at a university board level to collect the web-based content was granted prior to the development of any formal web archiving programme, or indeed the identification of any additional staffing or funding stream to support this. And when scoping the task, it quickly became clear to us that this was really rich in embedded media, including image galleries and videos. And amplified by the expectations of the donors, it was apparent that this would take us well beyond our initial web archiving exploration. But collaboration, experimentation, and working across disciplines are all themes within the archive. And knowing that we still had a lot of learning to do ourselves, we saw this as an opportunity to engage the collection donors as well as other relevant stakeholders, such as the small team managing the fashion archives, to basically bring them along on that learning journey with us. Initially, this focused on teaching them what web archiving was so that we could develop a common understanding, and that was incredibly important for managing their expectations around what we were able to deliver. In practical terms, within our very limited resources, we began initially testing using the inbuilt Heritrix web crawler within our digital preservation system, with limited success, largely due to the presence of external links beyond the seed URL. We very quickly moved to the use of Conifer. We found more successful results, but obviously found this more time-consuming. And we used the storage provided by our digital preservation infrastructure. Throughout, we held regular demo sessions with the stakeholders, both in person and online, demonstrating to them how these tools worked, as well as showcasing the created web archives. And those workshops formed part of our quality check stages. But as well as celebrating the successes together, it was important that we were transparent and open about the challenges and barriers that we were facing. And the issues encountered will be very common to the web archiving community, and they include the use of Flash, links to external press coverage, which now exists beyond paywalls, the limited capture of dynamic or user-driven content, and in this case, an experience of a live site going down before full capture due to external hosting issues. But through demonstration across tools, we were also able to provide them with reassurance that issues often did not relate to capture, but actually playback. Reflecting now on the project, we're obviously working in an arts environment, and Conifer was developed by the digital arts organisation Rhizome, and it's used by artists to create their own websites, their own web archives, really engaged our stakeholders. But we've since seen the emergence of browser tricks, and despite the slightly laborious setup locally, we can, through testing, see how this could have significantly reduced the amount of staff time that was required to otherwise crawl the websites. But although capture is obviously critical, demand from the donors continues to be concentrated around access, and this is where meeting their expectations remains a challenge for us. We want, obviously, to make these web archives accessible, but we don't yet have the capability to provide online access. Instead, this has been limited to on-demand access either via Conifer or replay.web. But when providing remote access via Conifer, we've received feedback that's not always intuitive to use. So the next step would be some sort of researcher engagement to understand their requirements for access and consider how we can deploy it alongside the physical collection. That might mean embedding a playback tool within our digital collections site. But like with the donors, we will need to educate users, obviously, about web archives and build that into this. Thank you.